Somebody call a doctor because bad medicine is back. That's the answer. This is the Appleton Oak. I'm Mason Quinn. Folks, today we are taking a look at a poll winner. This is It's a Wonderful Life from 1946. I have not seen this one. It is a first-time watch for me. I think the only thing I would know is there's been, the comedy shows, Family Guy has done a few things or whatever. That's the extent of my knowledge. I'm looking forward to checking out this classic.
I have seen it. We watched it when I was a kid. We'd usually watch it every year around Christmas time, usually I think on CBS on television. But yeah, I've seen it, love it, cannot wait for these guys to enjoy it.
Yeah, I have never seen a minute of this film. Of course, you see some pop culture references to certain scenes and stuff like that. But if I'm being honest, I don't know that I could distinguish between some of the old classic Christmas movies.
Yeah, Miracle on 34th Street, all those.
Some of the older ones, I wouldn't be able to tell you which they're from. So coming in with a completely fresh set of eyes for this one. But as these guys said, poll winner, and just you've kind of been told my whole life it's a classic. Just I was always hung up on my our family's classics, Christmas Story, Home Alone, that sort of stuff. So I'm excited for this one.
All right, without further ado, then let's go. Hey, Steve, can I get a water?
Coming right up. Got a fresh pack right down here. Oh, my back. Oh.
Uh-oh. Looks like Steve's back just called it quits.
Some help would be good right about now.
Yeah, you're gonna need some help with that, Steve. Your injury could be worth millions. You should consider calling Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm.
With more than 1,000 lawyers and 4,000 case staff ready to fight for you if you become their client.
But Steve's worried. He doesn't have the cash to pay for expensive legal fees. Worry no more. Morgan & Morgan will fight for every penny you deserve. And guess what? The fee is absolutely free. Unless you win. But Steve doesn't want to sue his boss, even though he hasn't gotten his surgery bills covered in the last 6 months. Steve, when you sue for an injury, you're not suing your boss. You're suing the insurance company.
So if you've been a victim in a workplace injury or any other personal injury, you can hit the link in the description to get Morgan & Morgan to fight for you.
Steve did, and now he's back in the game.
Bedford Falls.
I owe everything to George Bailey. Joseph, Jesus, and Mary, help my friend, Mr. Bailey.
Help my son George tonight.
Everybody's saying their Christmas prayers.
Please, God, something's the matter with Daddy.
Oh, jeez.
Looks like we'll have to send someone down. A lot of people asking for help for a man named George Bailey. George Bailey? It's that clockmaker's turn again. Oh, Clarence, you know, sir, he's got the IQ of a rabbit.
Splendid. Is he sick?
No, worse. He's discouraged.
Might I perhaps win my wings? I've been waiting for over 200 years now, sir, and...
You do a good job with George Bailey, and you'll get your wings.
Oh.
Begin to see something?
Why, yes. This is amazing.
If you ever get your wings, you'll see all by yourself.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, they're going to ride the shovels.
That's him when he was 12, back in 1919. Something happens here you'll have to remember later on.
They did a good job making this look really good.
Well, they're probably really on a hill and really on a lake.
Well, no. I'm talking about how
it's remastered.
Yeah, how they remastered how clear it is. Because when we would watch it on CBS back in the old tube days, it didn't look this good.
Grainy, I suppose.
Just right.
Oh, Jesus! Did he go in the water?
Yeah.
George saved his brother's life, but he caught a bad cold, which infected his left ear. Cost him his hearing in that ear.
Mr. Potter.
Who's that?
The richest and meanest man in the county.
Harry Potter.
Mr. H. Potter.
It's me, Mr. Gower, George Bailey.
You're late.
Yes, sir. Hello, George. Hello, Mary. I like him. You're like every boy. What's wrong with that? Made up your mind yet? I was painting chocolate. Is this the year you can't hear on George Bailey? I'll love you till the day I die. I'm going out exploring someday. You watch. And I'm going to have a couple of harems. And maybe 3 or 4 wives. Wait and see.
This is the timeless Christmas movie.
Yes, sir?
You're not paid to be a canary.
What?
We've all had a boss like that, right?
You're not paid to be a canary?
Oh, he lost his son. That's why.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was going to say when they showed him, he had tears in his eyes.
I'll get them, sir.
Take those cups, with Mrs. Blaine.
Oh, I like he turned it around.
Mr. Gower, I
Oh, good joy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there, Captain Cook. Where you heading?
Good to see Papa, Billy.
There's a squall in there. It's shaping up into a storm.
Should have called him yesterday.
It's reminders.
Old strings around your finger.
Just 30 short days. I'll dig up that 5,000 somehow.
Shut me up, shut me up.
A lot of these people are out of work.
Well, foreclosed. Are you running a business or a charity war?
Well, all my...
Not with my money.
Why, that medicine should have been down an hour ago. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
What kind of tricks you breaking away? Why didn't you limit him right away? Don't you know that boy's very quick?
Oh, look at his
his
ears
ear.
bleeding.
You put something wrong in those capsules. I know you're right. It wasn't your fault, Mr. Gower. It's poison. I tell you, it's poison.
Oh.
Don't eat my cereal.
Oh, no.
Oh, Mr. Gower, I would never tell anyone.
Wow.
An overnight bag. Genuine English cowhide. Brushes, combs.
No.
There's George.
Who is it?
George Bailey.
Good face. I like it. I like George Bailey. Did he ever tell anyone about the pills?
Not a soul.
I don't want one for one night. I want something for 1,000 in one night. I see. A flying carpet, huh? Yeah, I don't...
How much this cost?
No charge. Little present from old man Gower. Came down and picked it out himself.
He did? What do you know about that? My old boss. That's right.
Never so much for the bag. It's just exactly what I wanted.
Oh, forget it.
Well, it's wonderful of you. I wish I had $1 million. Hot dog!
Hot dog.
Suitcases leaving.
Hey, Ernie, I'm a rich tourist today. How about driving me home in style, huh?
Yes,
Your
sir.
Highness.
Your Highness.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bailey.
Hello, Violet. That's some dress you got on here.
This old thing. Well, I only wear it when I don't care how I look.
Thing. The old car horn. The old auga.
Oh.
George, Terry, you're shaking the house down. Stop it. Two idiots. George, sit down and have dinner.
I've eaten. Hope you have a good trip, George. Uncle Billy and I are going to miss you. No gin tonight, son.
Oh, Pop, just a little?
No, son, not one drop.
Did I act like that when I graduated from high school?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'll take my job in the building and loan, work there for 4 years, and he'll go.
You wouldn't consider coming back to the building and loan, would you?
Well, Annie, why don't you draw up a chair? Then you'd be more comfortable and you could hear everything.
I would if I thought I'd hear anything worth listening to.
I couldn't face being cooped up for the rest of my life in a shabby little office.
Ooh, ouch.
I'm sorry, Pop, I didn't mean that. But I want to do something big and something important.
I feel that in a small way, we're doing something important. It's deep in the race for a man to want his own roof and walls and fireplace. And we're helping him get those things in our shabby little office. You get yourself an education and get out of here.
I think you're a great guy. Why, did you hear that, Annie?
I heard it's about time one of you lunkheads said it.
Pop, I think I'll get dressed and go over to Harry's party.
So George is supposed to be like what, like 22 or something?
Oh yeah.
Around college age. Looks a little older than college age.
Well, they didn't have exactly de-aging CGI yet.
Yeah.
Hello, boy. Hello. George. That's the reason why I came in fourth. If it hadn't have been for that, that race had been a cinch. Nobody'd ever tell you whoever was
Hearts
because it'd be
around
scared.
everybody.
He's in love.
Well. Now, to get back to my story, see?
Get back to my story. See?
I'll get back to my story, see?
You look at me as if you didn't know me.
Well, I don't. Oh, yes, the big Charleston contest. Let's go. I'm not very good at this.
Neither am I.
Okay, what can we lose?
What's the matter, Othello? Jealous? Did you know there's a swimming pool under this floor? And did you know that button behind you causes this floor to open up? George Bailey is dancing right over that crack.
I'm setting him up. Oh boy.
George!
George!
Turn around!
It's going in the he's teasing us. Oh, there's the big dip.
Oh, their cell phones are ruined.
They just
Still
keep
going.
dancing.
Why not?
Well, exactly. Why not? Yeah.
Hey, we're all going in.
Do I look as funny as you do?
I guess I'm not quite the football type. You look wonderful. You know, if it wasn't me talking, I'd say you were the prettiest girl in town.
Why don't you say it?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I will say it. Hey, Mary.
As I was. I'd like to live in it.
In that place? I wouldn't live in as a ghost. Now watch. There's right in the second floor there, see?
What'd you wish, George?
Well, not just one wish, a whole hatful. I'm going to build skyscrapers 100 stories high. I'm going to build bridges a mile long. What, you going to throw a rock?
Just gonna wish you stopped talking.
What'd you wish, Mary?
Buffalo girl, can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Can't you come out tonight? Buffalo girl, can't you come out tonight?
What'd you wish when you threw that rock?
Oh,
I'll give you the moon, Mary.
I'll take it.
Well, then you could swallow it. And it'd all dissolve, see? And the moonbeams would shoot out of your fingers and your toes. Am I talking too much?
Yes. Why don't you kiss her instead of tonguing her to death?
Want me to kiss her, huh?
Oh, you just wasted on the wrong people.
Come on back out here. I'll show you some kissing that'll put hair back on your head. What do you...
Uh-oh.
Okay, I give up. Where are you?
In the hydrangea bushes.
This is a very interesting situation.
Please give me my rope.
Man doesn't get in a situation like this every day. I've read about things like this, but I never...
Shame on you.
Shame. Shame.
I'm gonna tell your mother.
What is up?
I'll make a deal with you, Mary.
Come on home, quick. Your father's had a stroke.
Oh.
I think that's all we'll need you for, George. I know you're anxious to make a train. Now we come to the real purpose of this meeting, to appoint a successor to our dear friend, Peter Bailey.
I claim this institution is not necessary to this town. It's too soon after Peter Bailey's death to talk about chloroforming the building alone.
Before you go, I'm sure the whole board wishes to express its deep sorrow.
Oh, yeah.
You're right when you say my father was no businessman. I know that. Neither you nor anybody else can say anything against his character because his whole life, why, in the 25 years since he and Uncle Billy started this thing, he never once thought of himself. Isn't that right, Uncle Billy? But he did help a few people get out of your slums, Mr. Potter. And what's wrong with that? Here, you're all businessmen here. Don't it make them better citizens? Just remember this, Mr. Potter, that this rabble you're talking about, they do most of the working and paying and living and dying in this community. People were human beings to him, but to you, a warped, frustrated old man, they're cattle. Well, in my book, he died a much richer man than you'll ever be. You're the board here. You do what you want with this thing. There's just one thing more, though. This town needs this measly one-horse institution, if only to have some place where people can come without crawling to Potter. Come on.
That was probably one of the best movie speeches I think I've ever seen. That was incredible.
Yeah, I'll be right
Why
down.
is there a crow on the front desk?
Already go on. They voted Potter down. They want to keep it going. You did it, George. You did it. Only one condition.
What's that?
They've appointed George here as executive secretary to take his father's place.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving right now. I'm going to school. This is my last chance. Uncle Billy here. He's your man.
But, George, they'll vote with Potter otherwise.
Oh, and that's how he gets stuck.
Not only that, but he gave his school money to his brother Harry and sent him to college. George got 4 years older waiting for Harry to come back.
Wanted man with construction experience. Here's the Yukon. Boy, right here. Wanted man with engineering experience.
A lot of experience he doesn't have.
Yeah.
Glad to see you.
Say, where's Mother?
She's home cooking the fatted calf.
I want you to meet Ruth.
Hello. How do you do?
Ruth Dakin Bailey, if you don't mind.
Oh.
Right. Well, I wired you. I had a surprise. Here she is. Meet the
Married.
wife.
Oh!
Oh.
Why don't you tell somebody? Well, a pretty girl like you doing marrying this two-headed brother.
Oh, his father offered him a job.
About that job, Bruce spoke out of turn. I never said I'd take it. Well, wait a minute. I forgot the bags. I'll be right back.
Oh, he's going to be stuck again.
His brother's not going to be able to take the
No.
pay that he can offer. They've made it clear that it's a smaller business.
Yep.
What about this job?
Oh, well, my father owns a glass factory in Buffalo. Harry's a genius at research. My father just fell in love with him.
Get that cigarette from Tommy Shelby.
He's here in the train.
One of the three
Yeah,
sounds.
we joked about movies in the 80s. They always cast like people in their mid-20s to play teenagers, and they got this guy, he's a college kid. It's like, I mean, he looks, I would say 40 here maybe.
Yeah.
Like if you had to guess in today's day and age, probably about 40.
How do you like her?
Oh, she's swell, isn't she?
Did you know that Mary Hatch is back from school?
Oh, wow.
Oh, well.
Now that's something.
Kind that'll help you find the answers, George.
Sam's crazy about me.
Oh, she's not crazy about him.
Well, here's your hat. What's your hurry? Building alone, pal. I think I'll go out and find a girl and do a little passionate necking.
Passionate necking.
Gotta write that down.
Excuse me. Hello, Georgie Forty.
Vi? Are you game, Vi? Let's make a night of it.
Oh, I'd love it, Georgie. What'll we do?
Let's go out in the fields and take off our shoes and walk through the grass. Then we can climb Mount Bedford and smell the pines and watch the sunrise.
She is not about exploring.
Okay, just forget about the whole thing.
See, he wanted to go exploring. It
Yep.
wasn't the upstairs window.
What are you doing?
I just happened to be passing by.
So I noticed.
Have you made up your mind?
How's that?
How's that?
Your mother just phoned and said you were on your way over to pay me a visit.
My mother just called you? Well, how'd she know?
I'll be downstairs, Mother.
All right, dear.
Oh,
look at that. Buffalo Gals?
Buffalo Gals, just like when they were singing last time.
Well, are you coming in or aren't you?
Well, I'll come in for a minute. When'd you get back?
Tuesday?
I thought you would go back to New York like Sam and Angie and the rest of them.
I don't know. I guess I was homesick.
Homesick?
My family and everything.
You?
So, some joke, huh?
Oh.
He is
Dude.
See, it still smells like pine needles around here.
What the hell is he doing?
Bye.
What's the matter?
He's just so. He's just. Yep.
Yeah, he's so depressed about, he knows his whole future.
Who's down there with you?
It's George Bailey, Mother.
What's he want?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Not a thing. I just came in to get warm.
Trolls the.
He's making violent love to me, Mother.
Don't you go home?
That's where I'm going. I don't know why I came here in the first place.
Forgot his hat.
Yeah.
Telephone is Sam.
Buffalo Gals, can't you come out?
Oh!
Forgot my hat.
Hello, Hello, Sam. How are you? Well, just a minute. I'm calling George. He doesn't want to speak to George, you idiot. He just don't. He asked for him, George.
Timing.
Oh, look on Mom's face.
Well, George Baileyovsky. Hey, a fine
Oh.
pal you are.
We're listening, Sam.
Well, look, I have a big deal coming up. I want you to put every cent you've got into our stock. Do you hear? And George, I may have a job for you. Giving him the chance of a lifetime. Do you hear? The chance of a lifetime.
I don't want any plastic. I don't want any ground floors. And I don't want to get married ever to anyone. You understand that? I want to do what I want to do. And you're...
George.
Was the necking.
Well,
Oh, well, here we go.
Mom's still mad. She's still shaking her head no.
Mom's just not having it. Even up to the wedding day.
Oh, what a rainy day.
If either you two see a stranger around here, it's me. Where are you two going on this here now, honeymoon?
Hello, Mary.
Oh, I feel like a bootlegger's wife.
Don't look now, but there's something funny going on over there at the bank, George.
Oh, is something else going to stop him from leaving again? A run on the bank. Everybody's trying to get their cash.
Please, let's not stop, George.
I'll be back in a minute, Mary. Well, hello, everybody. Miss Thompson, how are you? Charlie, what's the matter here? Can't you get in?
Crow's
The
in there
crow's
again.
there again.
Guys drinking.
All I know is the bank called our loan.
When?
About an hour ago, I handed over all our cash.
The whole town's gone crazy.
Yeah, hello? George, it's Potter.
Are you all right? Do you need any police?
Police? What for?
Mobs get pretty ugly sometimes, you know. I am going all out to help in this crisis. I have just guaranteed the bank sufficient funds to meet their needs.
Oh, this creep.
Mustache.
Just took over the bank.
Just tell them to bring their shares over here, and I will pay 50 cents on the dollar. If you close your doors before 6 p.m., you will never reopen.
George, was it a nice wedding? Gosh, I wanted to be there.
That writing on that underneath that picture.
You can take this one off now. Just remember that this thing isn't as black as it appeared. I was just talking to old man Potter, and he's guaranteed cash payments to the bank.
George, I got my money here.
Did he guarantee this place?
You're thinking of this place all wrong, as if I had the money back in a safe.
Old man Potter will pay 50 cents on the dollar for every share you got. Yes, cash.
If Potter gets a hold of this building on loan, there'll never be another decent house built in this town.
Yeah.
Joe, you had one of those Potter houses, didn't you? Well, have you forgotten? Have you forgotten what he charged you for that broken down shack? Potter isn't selling, Potter's buying. Because we're panicky and he's not, that's why.
How am I going to live until the bank opens?
I got doctor bills to pay.
How much do you need?
Here's $2,000. This'll tide us over to the bank reopens.
I'll take $242.
Ah, come on, Tom. You being all greedy for?
Your account's still here. That's a loan.
$20?
$20. Now you're talking.
I can get along with 20, all right.
$20. All right, Miss Davis.
Could I have $17.50?
Bless your heart. Of course you can have you. 7.
We're gonna make it, George.
6.
I'll never close this up today.
3, 2, bingo! We made it! Close the door, you since we made it. Look!
Folks, wedding cigars.
Oh, wedding. Holy mackerel, I'm married.
You left her in the car.
Well, no, Mary came in.
Oh,
with
yeah,
cash.
that's right. Yeah.
Train's gone. Well, wonder if Ernie's still here with his taxi cab.
There's a call for you.
You don't have any money for the taxi or the hotel or anything.
Nothing. He's here again.
Mary, hello. Listen, dear, I'm sorry. Come home. What home?
Oh, is that the old house that they're throwing the rocks at?
Hey, this is the company's posted.
We want us romantic places, beautiful places, places George wants to go. Took room, idiot. This is their honeymoon. Come on, get that ladder.
So the other people are coming.
Coming together to help him.
What are they, ducks?
Wow,
Hi,
look.
good evening, sir.
His hat. Look at Mary coming through in the clutch. Using a record player
to cook the bird.
Genius.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey. Remember the night we broke through windows in this old house? This is what I wished for.
Oh, Mary's like the greatest.
She really is. Talk about somebody who gets it.
Well, she told him. She told him in the store, I'll love you for the rest of my life.
Mr. Bailey.
What's that?
I own the house.
What's the name?
Oh, they got kids
awesome.
now.
Go to.
Bailey Park.
Oh, he built a subdivision basically.
Martini, welcome home.
Hello, George. He's always making a speech.
Bread, that this house may never know hunger.
Enter the Martini Castle.
Look, Mr. Potter, it's no skin off my nose. I'm just your little rent collector. But you can't laugh off this Bailey Park anymore. 90% owned by suckers who used to pay rent to you.
I don't think they're suckers anymore.
Every one of these homes is worth twice what it cost a building and loan to build. But one of these days, this bright young man's going to be asking George Bailey for a job.
Bailey family's been a boil on my neck long enough.
How is this guy still hanging around? He's so old and bitter.
I offered to let George in on the ground floor in Greenwich, and he turned me down cold.
Don't rub it
I
in.
I'm not rubbing it in.
Ain't glad to say.
Come on, George. See you in the funny
Goodbye,
paper.
Sam.
So long, Mary.
Boy, it's almost like if somebody made small, affordable homes, it would solve a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Quite a cigar, Mr. Potter.
You like it? I'll send you a box.
Got a picture of himself on the wall.
I was gonna
That
say
skull there's kind of weird.
Well, I
power move to make sure they always sit lower than
I'll
him.
find out sooner or later, but just what exactly do you want to see me about?
I am an old man. Most people hate me. I run practically everything in this town. But the Bailey building alone. For a number of years, I've been trying to get control of it. Or kill it, but I haven't been able to.
No. Just nonchalantly.
Yeah.
George Bailey is not a common, ordinary yokel. He is an intelligent, smart, ambitious young man who hates his job. A young man who's been dying to get out on his own ever since he was born.
Oh, is he getting to him?
Point is, I want to hire you. I'll start you out at $20,000 a year.
45 a week is
Times 52. That's
Yeah.
2,000. Like 2,000,
Yeah,
3,000 a year. It'd be 5 times the same.
I wonder if it'd be possible for you to give me 24 hours to think it over.
Sure.
Okay, Mr.
Oh,
Potter.
it's like making a deal with the devil.
Oh. No, wait a minute here. I don't have to talk to anybody. I know right now, and the answer's no. You think the whole world revolves around you and your money. Well, it doesn't, Mr. Potter.
He knew it too as soon as he touched his hand. This guy's dirty.
It's all because it was all slimy and clammy.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to do tomorrow, and the next day, I'm going to build skyscrapers 100 stories high. I'm going to build
sign on the
a bridge
wall.
a mile long.
They framed it.
Hi.
Why in the world did you ever marry a guy like me?
To keep from being an old maid. I want my baby to look like you.
Your what?
My baby.
Oh.
You're Mary, you on the nest?
George Bailey Lasso Stork.
This is a stork.
That's also Stark.
What is it, a boy or a girl?
Now you've probably already guessed that George never leaves Bedford Falls. Mary had her baby, a boy. Then she had another one, a girl. Then came a war. Ma Bailey and Mrs. Hatch joined the Red Cross and sold. Mary had 2 more babies, but still found time to run the USO. Potter became head of the draft board.
Still around?
Harry Bailey topped them all. A Navy flyer, he shot down 15 planes. 4F on account of his ear, George fought the Battle of Bedford Falls. This morning, day before Christmas, about 10 a.m.
Oh, Medal of Honor.
Harry.
George, tell me about it.
George.
Why?
That man is here again.
What man?
Carter, bank examiner.
Mr. Carter? Merry Christmas.
Now, if you'll cooperate, I'd like to finish with you by tonight. I want to spend Christmas in Elmira with my family.
Good morning, Mr. Potter. What's the news? Just can't keep those Baileys down. Now, can you, Mr. Potter?
Dude, where's your envelope?
Well, aren't you going to make a deposit? Oh, sure I am. Well, then it's usually customary to bring the money with you.
Oh, he just gave it to Potter. It was in the newspaper.
Take it back there.
Oh, this guy.
Just make yourself at home, Mr. Carter. I'll get those books for you.
It's $70,000. It's got to be somewhere.
Well, that's the thing is he just counted at 2 on the counter, so.
Yeah.
If I had any character,
It takes a lot of character to leave your hometown and start all over again. It's a loan. It's my business, building and loan. What's going on? Oh, by the bank examiner's here. Well, yeah, he wants the accounts payable to... What's the matter with you?
Oh, no.
Where's that money, you silly, stupid old fool? One of us is going to jail. Well, it's not going to be me.
So he has a lot of
animals.
What's the matter?
Oh,
Nothing's the
boy.
matter. Everything's all right.
Way up at the top.
Boy.
There, do you see that? Isn't it wonderful about Harry? Bet I had 50 calls today about the parade, the banquet. Your mother's so excited. Have a hectic day?
Oh, yeah, another big red letter day for the Baileys.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse you for what?
I burped.
Now go on upstairs and see if little Zuzu wants anything.
You know, innocence of a little kid when something goes bad.
She's got a cold. She's in bed. Caught it coming home from school.
Of course, it's this old house. I don't know why we don't all have pneumonia.
George, what's wrong?
Wrong everything, Joy. You call this a happy family. Why do we have to have all these kids?
Whoa.
Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Bailey.
Hello, Mrs. Wells. Well, it's George Bailey. I'm Zuzu's father. Say, what kind of a teacher are you anyway? What do you mean sending her home like that, half naked? Silly, careless people that send our kids home without any clothes on.
Hello, Mrs. Welch. I want to apologize. Hello? She's hung up.
I'll hang her up. Okay, that's fine, Mr. Wells. Give me a chance to tell you what I really think of your wife.
Dad, how do you spell hallelujah?
How should I know? What do you think I am, a dictionary? Tommy, stop that. Stop it. I'm sorry, Mary. Janie, I'm sorry. You go on and practice. Janie, go on. I told you to practice. Now go on, play.
Oh, Daddy.
George, why must you torture the children? Why don't you... Bed for 247, please.
Is Daddy in trouble? Shall I pray for him?
Yes, Janie, pray very hard.
I'm in trouble, Mr. Potter. I've got to raise $8,000 immediately.
Oh, that's what the reporters wanted to talk to you about. They called me up from your building and loan.
Oh. This guy's dirty.
You used to be so cocky. You're worth more dead than alive. But I tell you what I'm going to do for you, George. I'm going to swear out a warrant for your arrest. Misappropriation of funds.
Whoa.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can't hide in a little town like this.
Father in heaven. I'm not a praying man. If you're up there and you can hear me, show me the way.
Please go home, Mr. Bailey. This is Christmas Eve.
Which Bailey? This Mr. George Bailey.
Oh. Oh, that's the teacher. Her husband.
Here, quick! All right, all right. My best friend, get out! His name is Welsh. He don't come into my place no more.
Oh, Welsh.
Oh.
Now look what you did. My great-grandfather planted this tree. Come back here, drunken fool. Get this car out of here.
Oh, Jesus. He's on a bridge. Oh, no.
He's thinking about his life insurance policy.
Clarence, that was the
angel.
Angel, yeah. Oh, imagine how cold that water is.
I didn't have time to get some stylish underwear. Wife gave me this on my last birthday. I passed away in it. Oh, Tom Sawyer's drying out, too. You should read the new book Mark Twain's writing now.
We kind of gave it away in the subtitles.
I jumped in to save George.
You what?
You didn't go through with it, did you?
Go through with what?
Suicide.
Where do you come from?
Heaven? George, I'm the answer to your prayer. That's why I was sent down here. I've watched you grow up from a little boy.
What are you, a mind reader or something? Well, who are you then?
Clarence Oddbody, AS2.
AS2. What's that AS2?
Angel, second class.
What with Martini putting those drinks?
Ridiculous of you to think of killing yourself for money. Told you I'm your guardian angel. I know everything about you.
Well, you look about like the kind of an angel I'd get.
I haven't won my wings yet. That's why I'm an angel second class. And I won't get my wings with that attitude. You just don't know all that you've done.
Suppose it'd been better if I'd never been born at all.
Wait a minute. That's an idea. You've got your wish. You've never been born. You don't have to make all that fuss about it.
Well, I haven't heard anything out of that ear since I was a kid.
Your lips stopped bleeding too, George.
Well, your jaw doesn't.
Yeah, because it never happened.
Well, this is where I left my car, and it isn't here. Well, where's my car?
I beg your pardon?
Fellow that owns the car that ran into your tree.
What tree? You have me worried. One of the oldest trees in Pottersville.
He bought everything. He wasn't there to stop him.
Well, maybe I left the car up at Martini's. Well, come on, Gabriel.
Martini's isn't going to exist.
That's all right. Go on in. Martini's a friend of mine.
Somebody's just made it.
Made what?
Every time you hear a bell rings, it means that some angel's just got his wings.
Ah, there's the line.
I think maybe you better not mention getting your wings around here. How old are you anyway, Clarence?
293.
Out you two pixies go, through the door or out the window. What's that got to do with it? I don't know you from Adam's off.
Oh, no.
Oh,
His son still passes.
Yeah.
But
So
Didn't
this
I
is what
tell you
happened
never
to
to come
him.
panhandling around here?
No. Mr. Gower, this is George Bailey. Don't you know him? No.
Throw him out. Throw him out.
Mr. Gower.
That rumhead spent 20 years in jail for poisoning a kid. If you know him, you must be a jailbird yourself. This way, gentlemen.
he never intervened with the
Never stopped him, yeah.
Well, if I wasn't born, who am I?
You're nobody. You have no papers, no cards. They're not there either.
Oh, the rose petals.
Zuzu's petals.
So long, mister. I'm going home.
Home? What home?
Oh, shut up. Cut it out.
How am I doing, Joseph? Thanks.
It's like Marty McFly coming back and Biff owns everything.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, wow.
Hey, where'd the building alone move to?
Building what?
The Bailey building alone was up there.
They went out of business years ago.
Hey, Ernie!
Good. 320 something.
Yeah, hurry up. Suzu's taking
All right.
Now, you're Ernie Bishop, and you live in Bailey Park with your wife and kid. That's right, isn't it?
You seen my wife?
Seen your wife? I've been to your house 100 times.
Ooh.
Oh.
Phil, my wife ran away 3 years ago and took the kid, and I ain't never seen you before in my life, see?
See?
Potter's Field.
Well, this house ain't been lived in for 20 years.
What's up, Ernie?
I don't know, but we better keep our eye on this guy. He's bets.
Mary! Mary!
They're not here, George. You have no children.
Put up your hands. No fast moves.
Bert! Thank heaven you're here.
Back there.
Bert!
Come on.
Ernie, what's the matter with you two
Bert
guys?
and Ernie.
I wonder if that's where they got it from.
I hate to do this to you, bud, but...
Oh,
Run, George!
he's gonna club him.
He wants him to go to his mom's house.
Joseph!
Ma Bailey's boarding house?
Mother,
Mother, what do you want?
something terrible's happened to me. I don't know what it is. Something's happened to everybody. Now, the last man I talked to before all this stuff started happening to me was Martini.
Are you sure this is Bailey Park?
No, I'm not sure of anything anymore.
Your brother, Harry Bailey, broke through the ice and was drowned.
Oh, he wasn't there.
You weren't there to save Harry. You see, George, you really had a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake it would be to throw it away?
Where's Mary? Tell me where she is.
You're not going to like it, George.
Where is she?
She's an old maid. She never married.
Mary. Mary, it's George. Help me. Let me go.
Oh, here he's gonna see everybody.
Tom! Ed! Charlie! Right, that's you!
Whoa!
Whoa.
Clarence! Clarence! Get me back. I don't care what happens to me. I want to live again. Please, God, let me live again.
Oh, he's going to pick his head up and his lip's going to be bleeding again.
Yeah, it's snowing again.
Hey, George! Hey, what's the matter?
Now get out of here, Bert, or I'll hit you again. Get out.
What the Sam Hill you yelling for, George?
Bert, do you know me?
Know you? You kidding? Your mouth's bleeding. Are you sure you're all right?
What you... Zuzu... There they are! What do you know about that?
What do you know about that?
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, George! Happy New Year to you! In jail. Go on home. They're waiting for you.
This is wonderful. I'm going to jail. Merry Christmas, reporter. Where's Mary? Look at you. Oh, I could eat you. Where's your mother?
We're looking for you. Who's Uncle Billy?
Hallelujah.
Hello. George! Oh, George! Quick, we're on their way.
All right.
Come on. George, it's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Oh.
Isn't it wonderful? So many friends. Mary did it, George. Mary did it. She told some people you were in trouble with it.
Here, George. Merry Christmas.
Now, don't push. There we are. The line comes. Come in, George.
All worked out.
Merry Christmas. What do you want?
If I ever get a husband.
It's from London. Mr. Gower cabled you need cash. Stop. My office instructed to advance you up to $25,000. Stop. Hee-haw and Merry Christmas.
Hee-haw.
Mary comes through again. Oh. Even he kicked in some.
To my big brother George, the richest man in town.
Oh, there's the book.
It's a Christmas present from a very dear friend.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right.
What a banger.
There you go.
Which feels weird to say, but, you know, because
so that was...
Oh, gosh, that is it. This is going to be one of the strangest kind of wrap-ups, I think, for me, because it's such a classic movie, and I know so many of you out there have seen it, so it almost feels weird kind of going over it a little bit because it's from 1946. It's a beloved classic. So many people love it. So it feels weird us kind of talking about it as a first time watch. It's almost kind of surreal. Just the whole buildup. Okay, if I could back up, start to finish, story was absolutely incredible. What surprised me, the amount of comedy in it in the first 3 quarters, maybe even 80% of the movie, just had a ton of comedy that it's so funny how it still holds up, here so many years later. Just incredible. I mean, we got, you could see George as a young man, something always kind of derailed his plans. He had this pull of adventure that he wanted to do, and he thought that he wanted that more than anything, and he felt just so compelled to do that. But something would always come up, and he had to be the guy to kind of hold things together, and he just felt obligated that way. And he was doing all these things for everybody else, and the whole time kind of thought of it as like his burden to do, not realizing just how much he was helping all these people. And it's wild to think about that, and I'm sure it's such a popular movie because that probably resonates with so many people, right? Like you're doing all these things and you're working hard and you feel like you're put in these situations, and it can be so easy to think of like, oh, I'm missing out on this, I'm missing out on that. He was 4 years late for college because everybody else did things. He stayed back with his dad, and he never realized how every little thing he did influenced everybody else. And I just thought that was so incredible and such a great story for anybody to hear. You never realize how all the little things you do can spiderweb out and influence so many other people. I mean, the biggest one, I think, was how his brother, passed away young. And because that happened, all the men in the war were taken out too, because Harry wasn't there to save them. And that was, I think, kind of the real big moment when they were having that reveal at the end that really kind of hit George. So again, this was just so well done. I think, it might be easy now, as you watch this, so many years later, to be like, oh, would a guy really snap like that? Would George really, think about the life insurance policy and, consider that? But, people, these things happen. I think it's a very realistic thing to portray, in that these things can happen to anybody. Anybody can have, their quote unquote bad day. There's been movies made about that as well. So I think it's a very realistic take on what somebody's mindset could be. And if they don't have that guardian angel on their shoulder to kind of knock them straight and show them that, if you have friends, and you have people that you've helped and influenced, and their life has gone in a better way, well, that makes you rich. I mean, right away in the beginning, ever since George was a little kid, he wanted to be a millionaire, and he always made the wish. And at the drugstore, and just from that very moment, how he helped the owner of the drugstore, and it stopped him from making that mistake. It was just wild. Again, more comedy than I thought, and incredibly heart-wrenching at the end. That was so beautifully done. There's so many references now that I get, which is really cool. And now I feel like I'm finally in the club. But now that I've seen it, but I would be remiss if a lot of movies kind of make a little bit more sense now. I don't know if we'll make the cut, but I was like, I can kind of see where Back to the Future might have got a little bit of influence if, things go wrong. Potter, i.e. Biff Tannen, kind of takes things over or whatever. So it makes sense that some of these themes from this movie have found its way into other popular stories that we know. And it's such a good story that you can see why it works in other mediums. Of course, the idea of regret and the idea of, what your life means and how you influenced other people. I can't say enough great things about it. I thought the cast was absolutely incredible. Mary, what an MVP, just coming through and setting everything right. I mean, that honeymoon scene where she's like, she knew that they couldn't take the honeymoon, but had everybody in town get the house kind of fixed up and ready to go, and that was going to be their honeymoon because they used the money to help everybody else and to keep the bank and loan open. It was to be able to take part now, and whenever the references are out there, when it comes on TV, like, oh, this is the part, I know what's going to happen here. So this was awesome. Thank you all so much for voting on this, for being a poll winner for us. Incredible.
Yeah, for me, I come into some of these classics optimistic, but I'm not always sure what to think of them. And I remember, of course, everybody's heard of the film Gone with the Wind. Yeah, my mom is just the hugest fan. I think just because she had a major crush on Cary Grant forever.
Wow,
if I watch it now in a different capacity, where I'm focused in the type of environment that we talk about watching reactions in it, I might feel different. But it must have been 15 years ago already. I watched Gone with the Wind just at my old apartment on Netflix, and I got like 2 hours through it. I'm like, oh gosh, I can't, but I'll finish it, whatever. And again, that's not to say that watching it through my eyes now or in a different environment, I might not appreciate it differently. But at the time, I was like, this is 4 hours of not for me. So, when I come into the older films, again, I come in a little hesitant as to whether people hang on to a certain nostalgia because they're older films, or they have older actors and actresses, and maybe they're not as good as you think they would be. But again, there's a sense of nostalgia there, and that was not the case whatsoever with this film. This was, you get why people call it one of the greatest films of all time, and now, I mean, it's interesting that it's a Christmas movie, because it didn't need Christmas to be this film. You can tell this story without Christmas. It just hits a lot harder that it's Christmas time, right? Because around Christmas is the time where you try to be thankful for the things you have in your life. You try to, put into perspective how lucky you are for your friends and family. So the fact that it took place around Christmas, I think it makes it a lot more powerful. But I think you could have the story told at any point throughout the course of the year. But again, it's one of those movies that you watch for like, okay, this is, like, I'll say right now, it's one of the greatest films I've ever watched. Right up there with the best Christmas films of all time. The thing that surprised me the most about this movie is, I think it has aged. Look, it's 46 years old. So it's, this movie's almost, or excuse me, it came out in 1946. So it's almost
a little older.
It's almost 80 years old. Mm-hmm. And honestly, you could take it line for line, except where they say, see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah,
but I think you take, I literally think I think if you take this film line for line, scene for scene, and film it today with whatever actors and actresses, I think it is an instant classic today. I don't think you would have to change a single thing about this. And it's interesting because, when you get to be my age and you're like you're in the middle of, being young and being old, right? So I'm 45. So, not old, but I'm not young. And it's interesting because when you get to be about my age, or maybe even younger, you understand that people older than you that you thought didn't get it when you were a teenager, they get it, right? But you're at an age where if you tell teenagers like, hey, look, I know what you're going through, you're old, you have no idea. Well, hey, look, yeah, maybe we didn't have the cell phones or some of the social media when we were age, but really not that much has changed, and the young kids don't get it. They, a teenager won't believe that somebody who's 45, understands them, and but at 45, I can look at somebody that's 100 years old, and at my age, I don't think, well, they wouldn't get what it's like to be me anymore. I think I look at somebody who's 100 and I'm like, you know what? When they were in high school and when they were in college and when they were my age, they probably experienced a whole lot of the same life scenarios, just with some different minor details. And I think that's what's so great about this movie, is that it didn't, like, obviously it's in black and white, a little bit different language and dress and stuff, but it doesn't feel like an old movie. The comedy in it was great. That's what I wasn't expecting. And
neither.
When you watch everybody thinks that their parents or their grandparents, like when they were in high school, it's the Back to the Future thing. Like, you know, Marty McFly thought his mom was like a square, you know, like a stiff, and you find out like, well, that's not how it was at all, right? Like, so if you're watching this and you're 16, guess what? Your grandparents were probably 1,000 times cooler than you thought they were, and probably your great grandparents.
And you'll appreciate it more though too when you're an adult. When you're an adult and you like, oh,
you look at it different.
Probably did was probably pretty cool.
Yeah, it's mine's come in stages. You know, like my early 20s. You know, when your parents can treat you a little bit more like an adult and not like a high school kid they have to look after. You know, I started realizing in my early 20s that my stepdad and my dad were a lot cooler than I thought they were when I was a teenager. You know, my mom's always stayed in like mom mode, right? I have some aunts and uncles that have like gone into, you know, like cool pal mode where they've told me some stories. I'm like, you did what in 1945? You know? And the reason why I put so much emphasis on this particular topic is because it makes it so relatable. It makes it so relatable. Look, the scene where he was walking Mary home, the heavy necking, you know, that's the one, a passionate necking.
Passionate necking.
I made one note through the whole film, and it's quote.
That's the new phrase that pays around here.
And you know, with I've got your robe, I'm in an interesting situation. You know, because you know when you look at your grandparents, and I know it's difficult for teenagers. When you look at your grandparents, you don't think they thought like that when they were teenagers or in high school and college. Like, guess what? Everybody did. Yep. The only difference was the clothes we wear and cell phones. Other than that, teenagers are teenagers, college kids are college kids. And the humor they had at the dance and all of it, you know, his stuff with Mary. And then you start like, wow, Mary's like, you're like, dude, Mary's a catch. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like,
you know, and every
because he didn't want to be tied down.
It was interesting. Yep. Like every stage of his life, you looked at and you were like, wow, you're not rich, but you've got it good. In every single stage, when he was a kid, you know, he had his friends and he had a great job. He was able to help out his boss at the drugstore. I mean, you know, when he was, in college, he was having fun. And, you know, every stage of his life, from every single metric other than having money, you look at him as being a really lucky guy. And that was the message here. I don't know if it's going to make the cut. I said, oh, this feels a lot like Up. And I kind of caught Answer kind of like smiling a little bit because, you know, obviously
it has some
it has a lot of it in it, the big adventure thing. Like you wonder, look, when we're young, everybody wants to take big adventures and stuff. And a lot of people get to do it. And I think that's great. But if you haven't traveled the world and if you don't, you know, have a chance to see, look, it's fun to travel and it's cool and it's a great experience. But I think sometimes we measure our lives a lot of times by the money we've made, the places we've gotten to go, and the things that we've been able to see. And it's like, oh, shit, I'm starting to think about my dad.
Yeah, well, I mean, that type of stuff isn't everything. It's just not, and you'll find the value in friends, family, and especially now. I mean, again, I'm just giving you a minute here, but with the vacations and the traveling, you see that so much more now too, with like Instagram and everything, and everybody putting everything out there. And, so much of that I don't think is, yes, people are doing it and good for them and all that, but don't judge yourself on what somebody else is doing is just what I'd like to add.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you, Pishu, picking up there for me.
All right.
But, and again, those are all great experiences, but you can live an incredibly, incredibly rich life, not having all the finances, not having traveled the world, if you have people around you that you care about and that you love you and I thought this movie was so powerful and it told that story so well. Of course, Mary was never about the money, and she showed she had the opportunity. Look, they painted the wealthy guys as the bad characters here.
Well, not so much Sam though, because remember he does come through.
Yeah,
clutch
when he was on the phone with Mary, was supposed to be his girlfriend, and he had the other girl in the back.
Well, like that part, but like,
he did
even when he had money, he was always like,
he did come in huge in the end. But I think this is such a great film, and I think anybody who watches this movie can take so much out of it, and I think the really powerful message of this film isn't, look, it serves as a good reminder. Like, look, I've got a 4-year-old son, and I live in the big picture of things, a relatively stress-free life. But there's even times where, you get frustrated about little stuff here and the things in my life that I get frustrated about. I'm going to just say are little stuff because I don't face a lot of the same issues a lot of people might, and I never want to compare those situations. But even the little stuff, sometimes you have to step back and remind yourself how lucky you are. And we saw that here with him and his kids. And the one thing I think about this film is, like, even if it's not Christmas time, if you're somebody who's struggling, going through things in life, or you're questioning your value or your worth, I think like this is the film like to put in. He didn't think, he didn't adventure and he didn't build 100-story buildings, but the little things he did on a day-to-day basis changed so many other people's lives. And I think sometimes when you're looking at your own life, you want to see like the big things you accomplish. Well, I did this and I did that. And we forget so often to count the small victories, the small moments, because honestly, and I know this is cliche, but it's all that little stuff that adds up to be A Wonderful Life, the title of the movie. So a phenomenal film. I can't say enough about this. It's one of the best films I've ever seen. Like I said, for me, when I think about like modern films we've watched, it feels a lot like Up, as far as, he wanted to have the big adventures and didn't, and questioned whether your life had the kind of value that you hoped it would. It reminded me a lot of Everything Everywhere All at Once, where you question whether your life is a failure because you didn't hit all these big goals that you set, but you end up realizing that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And so it was like, you wonder how many films have looked to this film for inspiration.
Because you look at it and like, you can draw a lot of stuff from this. So that's what's great about us, if we get to go back and watch more and more classic movies, because then you get to see, the movie that I really like, let's just say movie B, drew a lot from this movie. Now, like for me, like I'd seen this how many times before coming into today, but this was the first time as like a full-on adult and seeing it through adult eyes. Like, as a kid, it was a good movie, but I wasn't crying like I was there at the end.
It's
when you
hit
see everyone
right?
get in. So it's much like with our Gladiator thing, how it was a 20-year, time jump on it. Same with this. We were always watching this at Christmas time, but we're watching TV, so those commercials breaking up, not as sucked in.
Difference.
You're still around family and everything, but you still got the message at the end that, friends are the most important thing. Like we watched it always at my grandpa's, and my mom, when she was about to pass away, we went out and did a Dress Like Your Spouse night out. My wife and I and a few of our friends, we did a Dress Like Your Spouse. My mom was looking at the pictures on Facebook, and she was like, I don't think we ever did any fun things like that. And then when we were looking through her pictures after she passed away, they certainly did. They did a anniversary party for my grandparents where they dressed like their spouses. So my mom was the best man for my grandpa, and my dad was one of the bridesmaids for my grandma. So it shows you that, we may have these cool ideas too, that even as adults, you'll do what your parents did for fun, stuff like that, where you dress like your spouse, going out and having fun and stuff like that. So like, even in the 40s, when this came out, it still resonates today that even when bad things can go bad, you still have your friends there that can help you out and can get you out of the drive. And we're looking through Wikipedia like we do, and Steven Spielberg had a perfect quote that said, "It's a Wonderful Life shows that every human being does matter on this earth, because they do mean something to someone." And that's always that's the most important message from this, because we saw if George wasn't around, his brother's gone, his boss turns into a panhandler. I mean, it doesn't become Martinis. It becomes this weird different town that
it's Potterville.
It becomes Potterville, which, it does have its place, but he sees what happens to everyone else, that he touched so many lives. And we saw early on, they established it early on, that Mary only had eyes, only had eyes for George, and even said it. She's like, "I'll never love anybody else, just you." So absolutely loved it, and it's so totally different watching it, obviously, through adult eyes, and I was here for it. I mean, I still knew the movie pretty much how it was going, and that's where I was like, you guys were wondering about the bills and everything. It's like, hey guys, yeah, I remember the times this is taking place. They said class of 26 or 28, and then it had to go through those eras, and then Potter even said it. Everybody else during the Depression, except for me and you, and we saw that how much that he meant to the town just because. They only had $2,000 themselves, but gave enough money to each person to last to get the 60 days, which I know $20 doesn't sound like a lot now, but back in like whatever time frame that was taking, the 30s-ish or late 20s, that was a lot of money. So they were
was a lot of money in 1990.
Well, so that is also true. So.
I'm glad you brought up that scene because that was really powerful too, because it showed the contrast of how people handle themselves in situations of adversity when you can help others. And then it also showed at the end when you're in a position to maybe help somebody even if you don't have a lot. And
it showed how some people were only thinking of themselves, like the guy that wanted the full 242.
247. The one lady said 1750.
Yeah,
she said 1750.
That's all she needed to get by.
They just wanted enough to get by, and so it was a really powerful message about like, even when you're in a rough time, like, what do they say? High tides raise all ships, And it's like, there's a lot of times in life where when one person's going through bad stuff, look, we're not trying to compare, problems. We, even if somebody else is going through it, it's important to understand, like, look, we're all kind of in the same boat in a lot of things in life. And I thought those were really powerful scenes. I'm glad Answer brought that one up again. Because that was a really, really powerful scene. Look, he took all he had. It was his honeymoon money and was trying to help people, and the people who needed to be helped. The one guy's like, I want all my 247, whatever. And other people were like, you know what, just give me enough to get by. And they were so happy that they had $2 left over.
And doing that, that's kind of another common theme that people say is, when you do good, it gets paid back to you in spades. Well, he used that $2,000 to help everybody, and it certainly looked like he got way more than the $8,000 that they needed to cover the money that was lost. So it just shows how people will help you out. And again, with this movie being as great as it was, I can kind of see individual movies that were pulled just from certain parts of this movie.
Certain concepts,
like certain things happened, a certain concept here, and they made an entire another movie off of a 10-minute scene that might have been in here. So again, just incredible.
All right, so obviously,
I'm gonna we can do scores.
So real quick, obviously I said my piece. I've seen it before, and it's a 5 easily. And I think if you watch it more so as an adult, and I think each time you watch it as you get older and older, it means that much more to you and can be that much more of an impact to you. Now I know why my grandma and grandpa love it so much.
Yep, absolute banger.
Which I love that.
I can make my mom happy and say I've seen It's a Wonderful Life start to finish. 5 out of 5 answers for me. There you go. Thank you, Answer. With that,
I don't think there was much of a question. No. 5 for me. Absolute film perfection. And the last thing that I'm going to say, because people who watch the channel know that I feel strongly about saying this on our channel when it's appropriate for the film. If you are somebody who is struggling, especially this holiday season, but struggling at all, I just implore you to please just take a minute to understand that even if you're going through a rough time, if you haven't achieved all the success you pictured yourself doing, or maybe you just feel like you're behind in life, whatever it may be, if you're struggling with a rough time, please understand that we are all our own worst critics, and just about every aspect of life, and understand that there are people around you who love you, who care about you, and value you in ways that you don't understand. And there's a quote that has been kind of switched to different things, but it's the quote about, if you could see yourself through my eyes, you'd see how valuable you are. And it's powerful because sometimes the way we look at ourselves, we don't value ourselves anywhere near enough. And sometimes it's like, look, if you could just step out and take a look at yourself through somebody else's eyes, you'd see how valuable you really are. So please understand if you're going through some stuff. Put this movie on, watch it, turn off your phone, turn off everything else in the house. Don't get distracted. Watch the film. And the last thing I am going to say, especially around the holidays, is like holidays can be a really rough time for people. Every Christmas, there's a bunch of people who are going through their first holiday without friends, without family, without a husband, without a spouse. So for as many challenges as we face throughout the course of the year, Christmas can be an incredibly difficult time for people. So if there was any time of the year to just be kind for the sake of being kind, this is it. So if you're going through it, just understand that you value or you matter more than you might ever imagine. And if you aren't going through it, please understand that there are people who are. And again, we ask you to do it all year round, but if any time really, really matters, just be kind to people.
Absolutely. We love you all here, especially on the channel. And hey, just remember, every time you hear bell, an angel gets his wings. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully you love this movie as much as we do, and welcome to the club, gentlemen. So for Appleton Oak, that's Mason Quinn. I'm, of course, the answer. Good night, pals.